It's Jeremy Vinup with J&J Power Sports, and we are back with our White Lightning scooter build. And what we've done so far, if you haven't seen the other videos, we've taken a brand new 49cc scooter, and we've tested it bone stock in 3 separate things. We've done a hill pull with it, we've done an overall top speed, and we also did a 60-foot time, and we recorded all that data. We'll get a video shot with all that data in it here shortly and get it out to you. But what we're doing today is we're doing the first step of the modification of this scooter. So the first step is going to be bolting on the high-performance speed pack we sell at J&J Power Sports. So what does the speed pack consist of? So what we have here, this is our high superflow carburetor from J&J Power Sports. Is basically what it is. It's a high performance carburetor that we have. The other thing we have is our aftermarket filter, and finally we have our racing coil and also our racing CDI. I don't know if you can see this in the video, but the CDI that is currently in the picture on the website is a lot larger than this CDI. It's just a stock photo. The CDI you would get if you order this package is going to be a lot smaller. It actually is the same size as the stock CDI. The performance and everything is exactly the same. The one thing we just upgraded to this CDI because it was so much easier to install. It fits in the stock sleeve, in your scooter, and you didn't have to, do any kind of weird stuff with zip ties and stuff to hold that larger CDI in place. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and get the camera set up and everything, and we'll show you how to bolt on this high performance speed pack. I mean, it's so simple. The only tools you're really going to need is you'll need like a ratchet set with possibly an extension, an 8mm or a 10mm socket, just depending on what your scooter has. You'll also need a Phillips head screwdriver. Other than that, that's about all the parts you're really going to need. It's so simple to do. There's no need to take this to a mechanic and have him charge you 50, 60 bucks to bolt this stuff in when you can do it right there at your house for probably, less than 30 minutes or so. So we'll get the camera set up and we'll go ahead and show you how to bolt on this speed pack. All right, we're back. Now the first step to bolting on the high performance speed pack is what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your stock air filter off, which only consists of 2 bolts. And also right down here, a lot of scooters have this little drain plug here. This basically what it is, it's a little hose that goes to the bowl of your carburetor so you can drain out all the fuel. Some scooters have this, some scooters don't. If you don't see one, don't worry about it. Just be careful when you pull your carburetor out that you don't dump fuel all over the place. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just drain the fuel out of the bowl of the carburetor. And we'll take our stock filter off. Now, to drain the bowl, what you'll need is a flathead screwdriver, okay? It has to be pretty small because right up in this silver piece, hopefully you can see that on the video, there's a little bitty flathead screw in there, and all it does is just, keeps the fuel from coming out. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go ahead and open that up and let this fuel run out. You don't have to open it up all the way. And it's probably best to have something to catch the fuel. There's not a whole lot that's going to come out. I just got a rag catching it right now. So while that's draining out of there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and remove the stock air filter. So what I've got here, I'm just using an impact, and on this particular scooter, it's an 8mm socket is what you need. There's only 2 bolts. There's one right back here, right there, and there's one right here. So that there removes the stock filter from the bottom side. Now what we need to do on the top side of the scooter is there's one more thing that's holding us on and some vacuum lines, and we'll go ahead and take those off when we show you what's on the top side of the scooter, and we go ahead and remove the carburetor and get everything bolted back in. So we'll get up there, get everything ready, and we'll start putting the speed pack, or getting the old parts out and putting the speed pack in. All right, we're back taking out the parts so we can install our speed pack. We've already drained the fuel out of the carburetor bowl. We've already loosened up our stock filter. So the first thing we're going to do down here is we're going to remove some vacuum lines, and we're also going to remove the stock filter box. So real easy to do, just a couple of things. Only thing you're going to need here is a Phillips head screwdriver, and there's just one screw that holds this on. Just all you need to do is loosen it up, and it should pop right off. Just like that. Now there is a line here. A lot of people ask, hey, this vacuum line, Jeremy, that runs from the head, what do I do with it? Well, what I do with it is I just take a pair of cutters and I just snip it off. And I just leave it short like that, or you can plug it off, just, you know, whatever you want to do with it. So go ahead and remove that. And there's one more vacuum line there. All right, let's see here. Got something hung up. Okay. The other vacuum line here, this here just goes to, you can just keep that where it is. So now we got the old stock filter out. Now the next step is we can go ahead and loosen up the carburetor. So right here, again, there's only one screw when you loosen up the carburetor. It just, you know, that's all it's connected in there by. You can just slide it out of there. So before you pull out your carb, one thing you're going to want to do right back here, this is your fuel line. It's going to run right up through here and run through your petcock. So what I'm going to use is a pair of just you know, a pair of vice grips here. I'm going to tighten them all the way down, and I am going to just pinch this fuel line off just enough. I don't want to crush the thing too bad, but I just want to make sure I'm not going to get any fuel or anything too much coming out. So this one is really, really on there. So I'll go ahead and snip this off just a little bit, because it doesn't seem like it wants to come off very well. There we go. There, she pulled free. Okay. Now, next thing we're going to do to remove the carburetor, we have this right here. This is our electric choke. Again, we're going to need some snips because there's some wire ties in here that some of the wire ties you may not need to cut. But if you can see this right here, right over here is where your electric choke hooks up. I went ahead and disconnected it, and what we're going to do is just feed this back through. Now, sometimes what I like to do is not to cut the zip ties if I don't have to. That way I can reuse them. But if you have to do it, you just need to, you know, re-zip tie a few things on there. It's not the end of the world. So get this removed. It's probably not going to go through there, so we need to snip this one down here. Just be careful when you're doing this that you don't snip any other wires or anything. And now our carburetor should be free. Go ahead and just loosen this up just a tiny bit more. And now our carburetor is completely free. So the other thing I've done here before we started filming was I removed the throttle cable. So that way it's just a little bit easier to show you. I was trying to, just for the sake of the video, try to keep it as short as possible. Next thing that we need to remove is going to be the CDI box. And the CDI box is located way down here. It's got a stock sleeve on it. So just reach down in here and just disconnect it. There's the CDI. Go ahead and remove this sleeve, and you're going to put this on your other CDI. This is one of the reasons that we went to the smaller CDI, is that way the stock filter or the stock sleeve fits right on there and it goes right down in there. The other CDI we were using, it was really big. You actually had to zip tie it down to the bottom. It's kind of a pain, and so we went to this one, but performance and everything is still the same with the smaller one. It works out just a little bit better. All right, the next thing we're going to need to do is we're going to have to take out our coil. Coil is going to be right here. We're going to unplug it from our spark plug. And this, you may just have to kind of pull on it a little bit. Sometimes they're in there pretty good. There we go. We got that free. Now, once that's loose, it's zip tied here again on the frame. You may have to cut some of the zip ties to get it out. It is bolted on back here, so you're not going to be able to see it, but if you can see right here, this is the actual top part of the coil. On this back side over here, if you can see my hand down here, on this back side, there's an 8mm nut. And all you have to do is back that out and it pulls right free. So that's what we'll do now. I'm going to use my impact and get down here and remove that. It's actually a 10mm. A lot of them are 8, some of them are 10. It just really depends. And that is that simple. All right, so we remove that. I'm going to go ahead and put to nutting everything down here in the bolt. That way I can use it to bolt up the racing one. Now, next thing we'll need to do is just disconnect these lines. They just slide off them all. So when we bolt the racing coil back up, and this one here does not want to seem to come off very good, so we'll just use a little bit more pressure. There we go. And we'll go ahead and remove that. So that's removed. We're pretty much ready to go ahead and start putting back in our high performance speed packs. So we'll go ahead and start installing the speed pack.